ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well out there, enjoying your Wednesday. It is hump day, y'all. Man, this week has gone by. This week most definitely has gone by. I hope you guys are having, excuse me, like I said, a wonderful, wonderful hump day. Hopefully it's amazing. Hopefully you are at the top of the peak, and now the rest of this week is only downhill. And I mean that in the nicest way, in the best way possible. Okay, there's a lot of things that we got to talk about, y'all. There's more than meets the eye within this title. I just want to be completely honest with you guys. We got some things. We got some things to talk about. We got some stories, and it's more than just Gabbie, Petito, and Brian Laundrie. Surprise! There's more going on today. I got a few clips that I want to show you guys, a few, and then we got to go into some other news. All right? We got some updates and all that, so I want to make sure that I want to make that abundantly clear on what's going on with those things, give you some small updates, some small videos, so we could go into that, talk about those things, and then we're going on straight into the other stories, baby. Now, there's a story outside of the Gabbie Petito situation. You know, we got to talk about the autopsy, like where it at, though? Where it be at, though? Where the autopsy at? So we got to talk about that. There's a new story by some other neighbors of Brian Laundrie's saying that they found Brian Laundrie dashing out the backyard or some crap like that. So we're going to be looking at that video as well. But we got other news as well, guys. Like I said, this show's packed. We got a story of a Virginia family being harassed with some very colorful words and very interesting animal noises on speakers pointed at their house so that they could get the F out of that house, out of the neighborhood. It's a very interesting story. And of course, we got to talk about Facebook and how, is it the new, like, big tobacco? Is the whistleblower the new big tobacco? Is this our generation's version of the big tobacco? With the big reveal, like, yes, it is bad for you. Smoking is bad for you. You see what I'm saying? Very interesting stories today. Like I said, yes, Amy Welsh, so many conflicting stories. Yes, there is so many conflicting stories in regards to the Petito and Laundrie thing. We're going to jump into this. But before we do, my brother's back in. David's in the house. What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, man. I'm doing pretty good. Hi to everyone in chat here. Just been busy myself. Haven't been on the show just because times haven't really lined up lately. But still working on those stories. Still working on the first one, really. Takes a couple of months to get the editing done. So that's what I'll be focused on for a while.
Yeah, man. It takes time. You know what I mean? Those kind of things, making brilliant work takes time, right? Making amazing content takes time sometimes. So, hey, especially writing short stories or writing a book, I give you mad props for it, bro. I give you mad props. That's a lot of patience that I don't have. I'm gonna be straight fucking. I don't have it. I don't think I have it. I've tried to write a book before, and I told myself I'd really sit down and write a book, but it wouldn't be some sort of fantasy type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you might be better if you just like narrate it into a recorder and then like change it over to typing. A lot of people work better that way.
Yeah, I like to write in like I like to write it out. That's me though. I like to write pen and paper. It just feels really good. I don't know, something visceral about writing on. You know what I mean? Writing on a piece of paper feels more real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. Like the book I'm working on is over 6 notebooks full now. So I prefer notebooks just because you can take them anywhere. You don't have to worry about forgetting your idea before you get back to your computer.
Facts. See what I'm saying? So I always carry around a notebook, and that's just me. So I always write in long form. like a longhand or whatever. What is it? Long form,
Yeah.
longhand, whatever the hell it's called. I always write it out in a notebook before I even jump into if I have to write it into script form. You know, that I write everything first in a notebook, and then I go to the computer and flesh it out. You see what I'm saying? But that's just me. You know, I like the turning of pages and the ink and the crinkledness of the pages after something's been written on it. You know what I mean, or scribbled on. You know what I mean? I like that tangible feeling. I don't know why, but that's just me. You know, that's just the corny ass me. You know, but you know. But anyway, enough about talking about writing. Okay. We got to go into these stories because I know my brother doesn't have a whole lot of time. He's got some deadlines to meet and everything. So we got to go into the news. Okay, so one of the stories that we have right now is that, we got to go straight into this conversation, right? Now, we have been talking about this for a while. Like I said, you know, we've been talking about this. We've been beating this thing dead. And sometimes it gets to the point where you're like, oh, we're still talking about this. Where is Brian Laundrie? Why is he not been picked up already? Like I said, we got some updates, a gang of different updates. And by the way, I see over 300 souls on all platforms watching this show right now. So please do us that small favor. Hit that like button. Send those likes past 100 likes. That would be very, very appreciated. Big time. Now, of course, we're all sitting here going, where the hell is Brian Laundrie and what's going on? But one of the other main questions that still remains is what's up with this autopsy thing, this autopsy report. What is up with this? Because have we heard anything about an autopsy, baby? Have we? We've heard it's a homicide. That's it so far. We don't know cause of death. We don't know if it's bullets. We don't know if it's blunt force trauma to the head. We don't know if it's stab wounds. We don't know if she's been like anything you can think of that we can sit there and go, hey, how did she die? We don't have an answer for it. And the thing is that there's a news clip that I want to show you guys really quick. Like I said, we're going to be going through these pretty quickly today, just giving you some updates and all that. So we got to jump into this. This is something that I found very interesting. And it's a damn good question. Why haven't we received any updates on the autopsy yet? Autopsy. Yeah. Why? Let's check this out.
19 minutes after the hour right now. New developments upending the timeline of the Gabbie Petito case. And now forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden is calling certain actions by the FBI very unusual.
He's here live. Case. We're now learning that Brian Laundrie flew home to Florida to get supplies and close out a rented storage unit days after this fight with Petito. His family's lawyer says Laundrie then rejoined Petito just before she vanished. Laundrie remains a person of interest after Petito's body was found in a Wyoming park. Her family demanding Laundrie turn himself in, as Petito's father has a strong message for him and his family. Listen.
He's a coward. He's too coward to kill himself, too coward to come forward. Yep. He's just on the run.
Anyone that lived in that house is a coward, and they don't know how to stand up for their actions.
Petito's cause of death has not yet been released. Jillian.
Okay, we have Dr. Michael Baden, a forensic pathologist and Fox News contributor, here now to break down the recent developments in the case. Dr. Baden, good to see you. I've been excited to talk to you about this because I think a lot of people don't quite understand. If they know the cause of death, why, in your estimation, has it not been released?
Well, it's unusual not to release the cause of death, especially if they're releasing the manner of death. In order to get to the manner of death, you got to know what the cause of death is. And
did you hear that? Just saying. This is obviously a forensic pathologist. All right. So he'd been around the block a couple times. You can see from the white hair. Sorry. But you can clearly see he's been around the block. He's done a few things with his forensic pathology. Okay. So, question. What the hell is going on? Why hasn't anybody received information about the autopsy? They ruled it out as a homicide. don't they have to give the other information to say why it is a homicide?
And part of it is that this is a federal investigation. Since the body was found on federal property, it was a federal investigation, and there aren't too many federal homicides. So that I think there's just a caution involved by the investigators to make sure they didn't miss anything. But in the normal course, the cause of death would have been released immediately with the manner of death.
You know, in some situations, I think that you can go under the assumption that if information is not released, it could perhaps be for a specific reason that investigators don't want it to get out because that could hurt their investigation or their search for Brian Laundrie. But you say it could also be the opposite, where it could help more tips come in.
Absolutely. This is a prime case for crowdsourcing and social media being of help to a police investigation. They're the ones who found the conversation with the Moab police where there was an argument between the two. The crowd is the people who found the van near where the body was found. Maybe with the release of the cause of death, there's somebody out there who will say, you know, that brings up a point that has been overlooked so far. And I think that crowdsourcing has become a very important part of police investigations in the past few years. Another
Suspicious part of this whole situation is that, and something people question, her body was not released to her family yet.
Yeah, that's very unusual also in this country. In some countries, they'll keep a body till after the trial, a year or two later, but in case they miss something. But normally, death occurs, as tragic as it is with a homicide, and the family has a right to bury the body or cremate the body the next day or 2 days from then. Here, there's been a long delay, I guess, because of the concern about not missing anything. But more important, I think, will be the same people who gave police information about the trips they took and how they were seen along the way may find something in how the death occurred. Most probably in these situations, strangulation is the most common way of a death occurring under these circumstances. That will provide a clue that the police might be able to work with.
Before we let you go, is there any chance that perhaps I know that it's rare, but perhaps they didn't know the cause of death and they needed to wait for toxicology to come back, because that does take a little bit longer, right?
Then yes, the toxicology takes longer. But then if you're waiting for the toxicology to find out what the cause of death is, you can't say it's a homicide.
Right.
And so I think in all cases, when there's a shooting or stabbing or toxicology is a value in evaluating the circumstances of how it happened, were they drunk, etc., but not the cause of death. The only time there's a cause of death is when there's a drug overdose, and then you don't know whether it's an accident, homicide, or suicide until after the toxicology is done. So the fact that they knew right away that this is a homicide means they've ruled out accident and suicide and natural causes.
Okay, well, I know there are multiple things that are very unusual to you in this circumstance, and the coroner could release the findings as early as today. So as soon as that happens, of course.
That'll be helpful.
So you hear that. Maybe they were going to be putting out some more information here soon. This video itself has been was put out today, about 2 hours ago. So hopefully, maybe we will get some more information, and we'll get some more the actual truth about the autopsy, the truth about what's really going on, or what happened to Gabbie Petito. What he said is not wrong. Obviously, he's not wrong. This is his job. But he said it's weird that they would sit there and say they've ruled everything out and said that it was a homicide, because clearly they saw something on her body, something that shows without a shadow of a doubt that she was murdered, that someone actually committed a homicide. But so far, they have not put out anything. They have not said anything. They have not said, oh, the reason why is it's so and so. And he ain't wrong on the other part too. And I'm going to throw it over to you, David, here in a second. They ain't wrong with this other thing, or he isn't wrong. It's the whole idea of the reason why Gabbie was found was because of all these social media sleuths, these digital detectives that have been out here doing everything in their power to try to find her. So why wouldn't they put out that information immediately, at least saying death by gunshot wound? That would show, oh, okay, that would link, see if the gun that he does have, or allegedly that he does have, is linked to her body maybe. Or if that gunshot wound matches the same gunshot wound on the two young women that were killed a little outside of Moab, Utah. Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. Just saying. Why aren't we seeing those things? Why aren't they putting out that information so that we, all of us, one, can have peace of mind of what it is, what the cause is, and so that we can keep moving? Because here's the other thing too, real quick. If it is a strangulation, in my mind, that is a crime of passion, which automatically makes me think it's Brian Laundrie, period. David, what are your thoughts real quick?
Yeah, I think you're probably most likely right here. I mean, from what we've seen so far, it still does. I'd say, if anything, it's becoming more likely or more certain that Brian is the one who committed these murders, when they haven't announced that they are looking for anyone else whatsoever. They haven't released any information to suggest there's another suspect. Now, my thoughts on why they might not be charging him for murder yet might be more because of a kind of like he said, where the feds want to be more conservative, but there's also the legal implication. One of the things that the feds have had to deal with a lot over the past 2 years is the corruption of the jury via politicians or just mass media talking about some of these specific cases. So they could be trying to avoid releasing information prematurely so that they can say that the jury did not have that information in their head to kind of create a prejudgment. That's one possibility here. I mean, as far as her own death, it's hard to say. There are images of them marking the whole area with orange markers, but some of the sites look like they could be a bullet hole in the tree, but at the same time, they haven't really announced it. They have pictures of shattered rocks, one that might have a bullet ricochet in it, but they also just highlighted the whole entire area, the surrounding area, in orange as well. So it's hard to say exactly why they marked those areas. It could be blood splatter. It could be fragmentation from the stones. I mean, we don't know how he killed her, so it's really hard for us to say right now. Obviously, they probably have a better idea of what happened to her. I mean, there was the carving in a tree that they don't even know for sure is related to the specific murder, mark of 15. I don't know why that was there. They haven't said anything about that 15, the number 15, why that was in the tree as well. So it's really hard for us to say. I do think the feds have a lot more information that they're holding back. And I do think that's more for the courts than it is for this specific case. They just don't care what the average person knows about the case. They want to make sure that they build up the case for the jury, not for the news. And they are much less likely than the police to kind of give into that publicity because, they're not being approached by local news, people that they might have worked with in the past. They go all over the country. So I think the FBI does know a lot more than what we are being told, obviously. And I think they're just not telling us that more to protect the trial than they are to protect the evidence, or to accurately portray the evidence that they have. That they have no reason to give that evidence to people. So I'm sure they're only concerned with giving good evidence to their bosses, and leaking that prematurely could, like I said, affect that jury.
I don't know, man. I mean, for me, it just doesn't make any sense that there is not been any updates or any revelations, coming out to show, hey, here's what's going on, here's what's happened, so that people who are out here that have been around them, like the forensic doc said, he said, hey, if they were able to put that information out here, we would be able to do a lot more. period. They'd be able to do a whole lot more, especially with everybody else, eyewitnesses, people who have been around them, people who have already said, the people who are telling the truth, let's just say that, that have said, hey, we were there, we saw them fighting, we saw this, and this. I mean, if they were able to put out that information, maybe, excuse me, maybe, just maybe, we could find out if there's connections to other things as well. Not only just her, but maybe there's other people. Now, I really don't think that he has any connection to the death of the married couple. I really don't. I don't think that it connects. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that one day he's just all of a sudden going on a killing spree. That just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem like that's his vibe. I really do think it is a moment of passion, of passionate. What did I say before?
Crime of passion.
Crime of passion. That's what I meant. I really do think it's a crime of passion. I don't think it's a thing of him being running around and just suddenly, he just really wants to taste the blood. I don't see that vibe. I don't. You see what I'm saying? I just don't. But at the same time, I could be completely 110% wrong, but I do think that this is a crime of passion. And if they also, let's not forget to add this, they were able to identify the body by her tattoos. That's how they initially were able to identify her body. Now, we also got to talk about nature. We've talked about this several times. Could be because of the, forces of nature, animals, all that stuff, that maybe her face was not in great shape. Or it could have been from a blunt force trauma to the head because of a crime of passion that happened between him and Gabbie Petito. That's my thoughts on that, okay? But we got to move on to the next part of this because we got 2 more videos to look at. Okay. And so I see over 1,300 people watching the show right now. 1,300 souls. Please crush that like button. Send this past 600 likes. Hit that like button. Send it past 600 likes. That would really mean the world to both of us, okay? We got some updates we got to get to. We got to go into this. So, Dog the Bounty Hunter had some updates. We got to go into that really quick, okay? We're gonna go. We're gonna kind of go into a flash round in a way, all right? But apparently, he found some. He said he found a makeshift. What does that pertain? Let's find out, shall we?
Makeshift. Friday, we found a makeshift, a very primitive camp that had some promising things around it. So we've gathered up all those things with gloves and baggies and turned them over yesterday to the FBI.
On Fox and Friends this morning, sharing details of the work that he's doing to try to find Brian Laundrie, suspected of killing his fiancee, Gabbie Petito.
Friday, we found a makeshift, a very primitive camp that had some promising things around it. So we've gathered up all those things with gloves and baggies and turned them over yesterday to the FBI.
Well, the famed bounty hunter focused a lot of his attention on Fort DeSoto Park in Florida that Laundrie visited after returning home from his summer trip. He says he's set up cameras just in case Laundrie is island hopping and returns to the campsite. They're also going through thousands of tips.
There's fake leads coming in to try to get us off the track since the day we got here. And of course, there'll be some good leads coming in. So right now, it's all up to the leads that we get, which direction we go.
Chapman says part of his team has also been in contact with a man who says he talked with Laundrie this past weekend on the Appalachian Trail near the Tennessee and North Carolina border.
The U.S. Supreme Court.
So, obviously, as you can see, this is a short one, guys. But as you can see, Dog the Bounty Hunter is busy trying to do his thing, looking for the people, looking for Brian Laundrie as we speak. There have been so many eyewitness accounts of encounters with Brian Laundrie, especially this one on the Appalachian Trail. There's a long video of this Dennis Davis guy getting interviewed outside. I think he's still on the Appalachian Trail. talking about his experience running into who he claims is Brian Laundrie. We are not going to look at that video because it's a very, very long video. I might look at it this evening when I go live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So be on the lookout for that when I go live. We will look at that as well. But even now, his daughter now is coming out saying about Dog the Bounty Hunter's daughter. Let me just say that is now coming out and saying that Dog the Bounty Hunter is just doing this for publicity. This is a publicity stunt. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not going to sit here and say anything anymore. I think he's doing whatever he needs to do. I think that, excuse me, there's like this weird frog in my throat. I think that without his involvement, we wouldn't have known anything in regards to the campsite in Florida. We wouldn't have known a damn thing about that. So I feel like he is helping. Like I said, he is helping with all this. Cuba Peach 49, you said your video is hazy. Anyone else experiencing this, just refresh. Hit that refresh button, and I'm sure YouTube will figure it all out. I see a gang of y'all, almost 2,000 souls watching this show right now on all platforms. Please hit that like button. Send those likes all the way up before I go into this next clip. Hit that like button. Send those likes past 600 likes. That's not too much to ask. You see what I'm saying? That's not too much to ask. Hit that like button. Send it past 600 likes. Please, 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 please. And don't forget to crush that subscribe button. We talk about other things other than just the Brian Laundrie and Gabbie Petito circus. We could call that. We could call it that right now. Let's be straight funky. We got to go into the next story. Okay. And I will be covering more information later on tonight about it as well. Go ahead, David, before I jump into the next thing.
I was just going to say that one thing that may disadvantage Dog is that he is mostly working from witness tips, and witnesses aren't always the most dependable, especially if a lot of these witnesses aren't even being vetted by the FBI. And at the same time, he doesn't have the body. So he is working off of information other people not directly involved in the case are giving him in a lot of instances. So there's not the possibility that he can verify every single call. So there should be expected that he's possibly working from less accurate information than the FBI, just because he is depending on those call-ins, and he doesn't necessarily have all the evidence that they picked up at the crime scene. And I mean, he may be on his trail very well, but he did start in the same area where the bloodhounds searched. The bloodhounds didn't find anything, and then he looked through the area. So, I mean, his notion is that Laundrie went north on the Appalachian Trail, which is one of the thoughts I've had if he was in Florida and he wanted to make it to Canada instead of Mexico for some reason.
Yeah.
That is the most likely way to go. But at the same time, he's still depending on these call-ins of information. He hasn't been able to, do a criminal investigation at these scenes. He says it himself. He gave the baggies off to the police. Presumably, he doesn't have a way to compare to Laundrie's DNA directly, if he even has Laundrie's DNA somehow.
Right.
But so even if he's doing as best job he can, you do have to consider his information is not as good as what the FBI has, and even if he's behaving logically based on the information he's given, that information may just be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's relying on people. He's relying on eyewitness accounts. And I feel like a lot of people are, right? We all are. I don't know how many times we have gone left and right, then left and right, then like we've just gone back and forth, back and forth. He's this, he's that. There's other YouTubers have said that have broke stories saying that, there was a ultrasound, photos on the log that was right by the van, and there he is in the background of the van. You could see he's like there's a stabbing motion going on in the background in the field with where the Bethune's van life video is being shown. Like it's all this crazy stuff, just left, right, left, right, left, right. And so I can't blame him for leaning towards information from other people, right? Because that's the only way you're going to get things moving. But I also do feel that if we knew some more information, like the autopsy report, I think this conversation, I think that could help him a little bit. That would help us, people who are covering the story and chopping it up and talking about this ish. I think it would really, really help and push this story to closure. You know, and also it's like, maybe there's more information. Maybe there's something that happened to him during that altercation. Maybe he has significant bruises or cuts or anything like that could prove positive without a shadow of a doubt that if somebody did encounter him, that is actually him. You see what I'm saying? But you know, like I said, there's just too many people saying, "Oh, I found this guy," or I found him, but it's a totally different dude. His name's Michael. His name is mother loving Chet. You see what I'm saying? And they're saying, "Oh, it's Brian," and it's like, no, man, that's Chet over there, bruh. That's my boy Chet. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's getting out of hand. But if we were able to find out more information from the autopsy, if Dog the Bounty Hunter can actually show some serious evidence of something, not just a monster can, not just a monster energy can, I think things would progress further. Okay, progress further for sure. But like I said, left and right. Now we got some more information. A neighbor has come out just recently, by the way, just recently. This comes out of nowhere, y'all. Like I said, out of nowhere. But a neighbor now is sitting here saying, let me read this up here. Apparently, neighbors saw Brian jet out of the house the day the parents reported him missing. Feds got surveillance from neighbors across the street from these people. He never went to the reserve. Was a ploy. So we got to take a look at this video. This is right there. This is words coming from the neighbor's mouth. Like I said, there's just too much of this going on, y'all. Damn. It's this way, that way. Which way are we going here? What is the truth? What is the truth? And then here it is. I'm going to say it now, and I'm going to say it at the end of this video. Where the car fox? Where the car facts? Show me the facts, baby. Let me see that surveillance video. Because everybody now can say anything. Yeah, I was just eating a cheesecake with him just the other day, and you know what I mean? Oh, I just ran into him on a dusty road because he pulled over, even though he out on the lam and he's a most wanted. He's like a wanted human being. He pulled over. He banged a Yui to talk to my lanky ass to ask how he could get to California. What? I mean, like I said, too many pieces of misinformation flying all over the damn place. But let's hear what these people, and I'm not going to say, I'm not saying nothing. Let's just play because I got things to say. Let's go.
Practice right there, in back of that house is where Laundrie lives. So you're saying last 2 Fridays ago, when during the protest, the day they reported missing, witnesses are saying Brian ran out of there.
Probably through the woods right here. And he hauled ass, and the neighbors right there got it on surveillance.
So
said they thought it was him.
So yeah, and so you're saying the police actually asked you about that photograph that's circulating. Do you know if
they came back? What was it, Saturday? They came back the next day, and I thought I was in trouble because of the protest. Like, you remember, like the cop wants to talk to you. And
did they go to any other neighbors? You think? Did they go?
Some were they were at, well, they asked them, didn't they? And then the cops went over. The
cops were walking up and down the street.
So you guys think it was him?
Yeah, definitely. He was here.
I mean, to us, we think it looks like him too.
He was here.
Yeah.
I mean, we
he
think.
Was here Friday, and as soon as it got dark, everybody was so concerned with the protest.
Yeah.
And instead of the cops blocking off this whole subdivision, they only focused on that one street. Well, who else is gonna be running down the street that fits his description? Right? I mean, it could have been somebody who's like, "Oh shit, I want to see what's going on."
Yeah.
But I don't know. The cops came and they showed us the picture, and I was like, "That's him, dude."
So you heard that. Now, I'm just going to say this. Sure, that's fine. All right. That's fine. That could very well be him. Sure. So then let's see the surveillance footage. Can we see that? Please? Let me see the surveillance footage real quick, y'all. Before we automatically go, oh, it was him. It's because they're for the Jello pudding Papa's doll. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see it, because everybody and their mom is saying something else. We just had Cassie Laundrie in an interview talking all kinds of mess. 2 different interviews. One out in the front lawn and one on Good Morning America. And then another one weeks before that, on ABC, same affiliate. But you know what I'm saying, of Good Morning America, same affiliate. But at the same time, over there, doing a thing, saying certain things. The parents said, oh, no, he went to the swamp because he wanted to be one with the swamp. And the swamp to him is calming. So he wanted to go out there and meditate. So he took his Mustang out into the middle of the freaking swamp to go meditate. What? So there's been so many misleading pieces of information. Like, y'all, what the F, man? Seriously, what the F? What is real? What is fake? If this eyewitness account is absolutely 110% real, then show me the actual surveillance camera footage. Let me see that footage. And then we could talk about this. We could talk. I'll be like, all right, that does kind of look like the dude. Okay, it looks like he's booking. Looks like he's running for his life. Sure. But it doesn't make any sense. It does not go with anything that has been said as of recently. David, what are your thoughts on this really quick while we wrap this piece up?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of falls under what I just said a minute ago, that witness tips aren't always the most reliable. I mean, they might be right, but with so many tips that we've heard and how common Laundrie looks, it's definitely quite possible there's a misidentification here. I haven't seen the video that they allegedly are pointing towards, but we've seen a lot of poor quality videos of people pointing to Brian Laundrie like he's Bigfoot, like we've discussed in the past. So, I mean, it's possible one of these claims are right, but we've gotten so many that have identified him at different locations at the same time that obviously a lot of those can't be true because they're contradictory to some degree. So unless there's an additional reason to think that he would be just walking down a suburban street right out in the open for no reason, I don't see why we would think that he's there just because they saw somebody that looked like Brian Laundrie. We've already pointed out how many people look like Brian Laundrie in the past, and how many of these videos are just little specks of a person that you can't tell who they are, especially with such a common look as a white bald guy with a little bit of a beard going on. Just a pretty common look. But yeah, I mean, it's possible, but so many of these without a much stronger degree of evidence, I don't see a reason to necessarily believe it until because you just be chasing your tail for most of these stories that we've seen of the supposed sightings of Brian Laundrie. And this is why ultimately we do have to depend a little more on the FBI and I guess bounty hunters in the situation. They do have people better trained at breaking down kind of visual intelligence like that, and at the same time they're able to go in with a subpoena warrant and get the videos without dispute and get the people to talk to them. So, I mean, like I said, there's a small possibility this is true, but just being another witness sighting without any harder evidence to back it up, I think it should be held in a highly skeptical view, like a lot of the evidence that hasn't been vetted yet.
Yeah, like I said, too much information going in and out. Too many people saying, "Oh yeah, I saw him. Oh yeah, I saw that guy." Like I said, this fall season is the bald white man season, literally. Period. Skinny bald white guy with a beard season, and whether you like it or not, that's pretty much where we're at right now. Because, like I said, there are people out here that just want to get attention. There are people out here that just want to throw people off, to be trolls, to be jerks. But then everybody wants to be a hero too. And honestly, we don't need another hero right now. Okay? We don't. We just need actual evidence and proof. And the thing is if the FBI has footage, like possession of this particular surveillance footage, then let's see it. Leak it. Present it to the public so that we all can find out what the heck is going on. So we can keep moving. Okay? Guys, please don't forget to hit that like button down below. Crush that like button. Please hit that like button. Send it past, well, it's almost at 600. So please get it past 700 likes. That would really, really mean a lot to us. Okay? We're trying to give you as much information as we can. Okay? So please send it past 700 likes. And all y'all, if you haven't done it yet, please hit that subscribe button. That would be really appreciated. Crush that subscribe button. We got to go quickly into Facebook and the things that are going on with Facebook. And of course, when we have more information revolving around the Brian Laundrie and Gabbie Petito case, we will be talking about it. I guarantee you that. Okay, so stick around for that information. And of course, I'll be on tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be talking more about this particular situation and other stuff as well. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Crush that subscribe button. Okay, anyway. David, tell us a little bit about this whole Facebook thing. I feel like we're looking at this as like our version of the big tobacco.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. It is kind of like you said there. So basically what we're seeing is that there is a whistleblower from Facebook. Her name is Frances Haugen, and she was a former data scientist at within the company of Facebook itself. And she states that basically Facebook harms children, sows division, and undermines democracy in pursuit of a breakneck growth and astronomical profits. You may remember in 2016, there were already accusations of Russian involvement over Facebook. And she's claiming that there's been additional issues since then. You may also recall that Congress did call Facebook and specifically Zuckerman to come and testify before Congress and kind of tell them how they're managing that information, though the interview was not as thorough or well informed as you would hope. A lot of the senators didn't really ask the proper questions, but she's kind of coming out with this information that they were trying to get to in some of the Senate hearings. She claims that before she left the social network, she copied thousands of pages of confidential documents and shared them with lawmakers, regulators, and the Wall Street Journal. And since then, the Wall Street Journal has published a series of reports called the Facebook Files that kind of talk about some of these issues. A lot of them are behind a paywall, but if you look for them on Google, you'll be able to find a lot of those pages, not necessarily all of them, but a substantial amount of those pages are out there on the Wall Street Journal to look at if you decide to go over there yourself. She goes on to say that during her time at Facebook, she came to realize that almost no one outside of Facebook knows what's going on within the company itself. And that is ultimately why she decided to raise concerns about this. Other people have done this, but she's considered one of the more reliable witnesses so far because her position is verified and it was a high level position. So everything kind of checks out as far as the authenticity of her ability to get these documents. And Zuckerberg also kind of stated that it's unfortunate to see this information taken out of context, which suggests that the information itself is probably accurate to some degree. Okay, so she released one study showing that like 13% of UK teen girls had more frequent suicidal thoughts after using Facebook. Another study showing within Facebook showing that 17% of girls develop eating disorders after using Instagram, which is part of the records they have. Facebook researchers also found that 32% of the girls develop body issues because of the use of Facebook.
I got a clip right here. Let me show this to you guys really quick. This pertains to what you're just saying right here. Mr. Cabo.
Facebook, according to the public reporting on it, Facebook's internal reports found that Instagram makes, quote, body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls. And additionally, it showed that, quote, 13% of British users and 6% of American users trace their desire to kill themselves to Instagram. Is that a fair and accurate characterization of what Facebook's research concluded?
I only know what I read in the documents that were included in my disclosure. That is an accurate description of the ones that I have read. Because Facebook has not come forward with the total corpus of their known research, I don't know what their other things say. But yes, there is documents that say those things.
So we had testimony last week in the Senate with a witness from Facebook who claimed that information was not accurate and needed to be in context. Now, of course, she wasn't willing to provide the context, the alleged mysterious context. Do you know of any context that would make those data anything other than horrifying and deeply disturbing?
Engagement-based ranking and these processes of amplification, they impact all users of Facebook. The algorithms are very smart in the sense that they latch on to things that people want to continue to engage with. And unfortunately, in the case of teen girls and things like self-harm, they develop these feedback cycles where children are using Instagram as to self-soothe, but then are exposed to more and more content that makes them hate themselves. This is a thing where we can't say 80% of kids are okay. We need to say, how do we save all the kids?
The Wall Street Journal reported that Mark Zuckerberg was personally aware of this research. Do you have any information one way or the other as to Mr. Zuckerberg's awareness of the research?
We have one of the documents included in the disclosures, it details something called Project Daisy, which is an initiative to remove likes off of Instagram. The internal research showed that removing likes off Instagram is not effective as long as you leave comments on those posts. And yet the research directly presented to Mark Zuckerberg said, we should still pursue this as a feature to launch.
So as you can see, this is something that obviously they have been looking into it and seeing what they can and can't do, right? Now, obviously, there's a lot of people that might think some type of way about this particular story. Understandably, some people sit there and go, well, you know, it's not the actual app. It's the people that are in the app, if that makes any sense. And it's not the people that are running the app, but it's actually the people that are inside the app, saying mean things, doing rude things, making somebody feel like they can't do anything better, so on and so forth, right? But we are messing with something that's very serious. We got a lot of kids looking at certain things that are being perpetuated on the app. We have kids that are sitting there going, oh, I need to get, you know, the young girls that are thinking that I need to get, you know, fake boobs and a fake butt to be considered beautiful. Oh, I have to have this look, or I have to have that look, or people sitting there going, oh, I need to be on lavish trips and have this lavish lifestyle. You know, I could see those things, you know, slowly but surely destroying young kids' minds. Also, let's not forget, online bullying, cyberbullying is still prominent and still is real. There are trolls all over the place. And there's some really disgusting human beings out here that like to feed off of not only Instagram, but TikTok as well. So, you know, you look at this app, you see what's going on with this app and how it exists. And I love all those platforms. I mean, you know, I appreciate Instagram. I appreciate Facebook to a certain extent. But you can see that there's a lot of things that are not right. They are feeding off of the certain things that are going on in the world that aren't right, aka misinformation, or they'll sit there and snuff somebody out from being able to speak their truth or speak the truth because of whatever they feel is not right and is not true. And obviously this goes on, and this could be talked about on so many different other angles as well. But we're only focusing on these two separate platforms. It's interesting. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on exactly that. While I don't necessarily disagree that Facebook is doing these things, especially if these studies back it up, it's very consistent with what we kind of see. I don't necessarily think that these problems are unique specifically to Facebook. This is a problem with all of the social media that we see. It's kind of a problem with the natural aspect of giving people what they look for because people tend, if you start looking into, say, anorexia, for instance, saying like, are you too fat? And you keep searching that and Facebook keeps providing that, eventually that's the only thing you're going to be thinking about. And it's not just Facebook that does this. Like you said, you see it on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of those. It's the selective algorithm of giving people what they most want to search for. And typically people are more likely to click on things that make them anxious or unhappy than they are to click on a bit of good news. Obviously,
Sorry, continue. I did not mean that to happen. Go ahead.
So obviously, Facebook is contributing to this. I would argue TikTok's the worst, but that's just from my observations. But this isn't just an issue with social media. The social media does exacerbate it considerably. I mean, like you said, bullying is one of the major things that makes this the case. Bullying is no longer regulated to just school. It continues all day, almost 24 hours a day, from what you can see with a lot of these children being bullied to these degrees. It's because there's no way to escape anymore. These social media platforms are an expected part of social interaction. And so if you're not on there, you're kind of a pariah in a lot of these situations. But if you are on there, it makes you a constant available target for all the people who want to tear you apart. And there's a lot of people that want to do that on Facebook and Twitter and all of that, because not only are they protected by the internet, but if other people are joining in, liking their comments, they even think they're validated to some degree in their poor behavior and poor treatments of others. I do think a lot of this ultimately comes down to that, the aspect of bullying and the way that social media allows it to be more pervasive, especially when it comes to things that are a popular part of the zeitgeist, like weight issues, because those are going to have a lot of results. You talk about weight on YouTube, you're going to start getting a lot of ads about weight. And what are those ads going to be about? They're going to be about losing weight. They're not going to be about being happy with what you look like. Because
fit tea, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, check out this fit tea. If you drink this, you'll slim out, so on and so forth. It's kind of like, no, like there's, but here it is though. Because let me just say this. Actually, I got this clip I wanted to play really quick. I want us to hear this really quick, and then I'm going to add to what you just said. Let's hear this out.
Facebook is going to say, you don't want to give up engagement-based ranking. You're not going to like Facebook as much if we're not picking out the content for you. That's just not true. There are a lot of, Facebook likes to present things as false choices. Like you have to choose between having lots of spam. Like let's say, imagine we ordered our feeds by time, like on iMessage or on, there are other forms of social media that are chronologically based. They're going to say, you're going to get spammed, like you're not going to enjoy your feed. The reality is that those experiences have a lot of permutations. There are ways that we can make those experiences where computers don't regulate what we see. We together socially regulate what we see. But they don't want us to have that conversation, because Facebook knows that when they pick out the content that we focus on using computers, we spend more time on their platform, they make more money. The dangers of engagement-based ranking are that Facebook knows that content that elicits an extreme reaction from you is more likely to get a click, a comment, or reshare. And it's interesting because those clicks and comments and reshares aren't even necessarily for your benefit. It's because they know that other people will produce more content if they get the likes and comments and reshares. They prioritize content in your feed so that you will give little hits of dopamine to your friends so they will create more content. And they have run experiments on people, producer-side experiments, where they have confirmed this.
You heard that, right? So any type of reaction, especially, I mean, of course, I'm gonna expand on this piece, especially things that are extremely salacious, extremely polarizing. She is saying that Facebook feeds on this, allegedly. Feeds on this. Period. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. If it gets clicks, if it gets engagement, they embrace this. So very interesting pieces of information here that this woman, Frances Haugen, I think her last name is pronounced that way. Sorry if I pronounced her name wrong. But she is exposing all of this stuff. And it's true. The dopamine hits and all that stuff. I mean, we are all now addicted to that. right? We all love to get the views. Let's be real. We all love to get the views. We all love to get the clicks. We all love to get the likes and the comments and all that stuff. Let's be real. A lot of us, everybody wants to be famous, right? To a certain extent. Look at all the stuff that we see on IG, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, shoot, even Twitter and Twitch. Let's not forget. We see all these things. But one thing I have to say is it's not only just the Facebook or the manufacturer, like the owner of the said platform. It also boils down to the consumer. The consumer has a choice, right? To pick up that phone and go into that app and consume whatever it is. The parents have a choice to have full court press on their children and what they're consuming on those apps, or at least there should be that type of access. But unfortunately, we live in a time where, there are kids. I know kids that are not even
don't want to give up engagement.
Not even 13 years old. And they got access to platforms like on Instagram, like the Shade Room, the Baller Alert, Kim Kardashian, and any type of influencer out there. They're watching these people. They're consuming the content. And they're seeing, oh, I must look like this. I must be like this. It also boils down to the parents, too. It's about the fam. I'm going to be real honest. It's not only on Facebook and Instagram's, the creators and the people who watch it above. It also goes down to the parents as well. And I'm not sitting here trying to say, oh, it's all the parents' fault. No, I'm not. Because Facebook and Twitter, or all social media platforms, have a responsibility as well. They have a responsibility to create an avenue that is children friendly, that is positive, that is, I'll even say this, body positive. Real talk, because there's plenty of girls. Just looking at girls for right now, there are plenty of girls out here that are going through changes. They're just going through changes called puberty. They're growing up. And when they hit their teens, they're automatically thinking, oh, I must have this Coke bottle hourglass figure, or I won't be beautiful. I want to be beautiful. I'm not getting the respect and the love that I want and that I feel like I deserve. Literally. It's not only just the company, it's also up to the parents as well. I mean, that's just what I think. It's a two-way street. This is not a one-way street. This is a two-way street. And what your kids are consuming is your responsibility as well. It's not only just Facebook and Instagram, but I do agree and do appreciate her putting out these truths, because here it is. It confirms everything I've been saying forever, baby. It has. Hasn't it, David? Because I've been saying this kind of ish for a long time. They only let certain things come out. You're only allowed to say certain things. They'll censor you if you say certain things and censor you if you don't say certain things. You have to make sure you speak in code, or you make sure you have to. We've been through this ish, y'all. We've been through it, right? But at the same time, I feel like they're putting the focus on the wrong part. They're focusing on the wrong people or the wrong content creators. There's a lot of other mess going on out here. Like, instead of going up and shutting a dude or shutting a platform down because they're talking about the stuff that's going on that we've been dealing with for the past year and a half, okay? Dodging this ish, like the plague. Get what I'm saying? Instead of shutting somebody down who's just trying to talk about it, why not shut somebody down who's trying to push bad diet advice, bad body positivity type stuff. They sit there, oh, I'm being body positive. No, you ain't. You're making somebody feel worse than they were feeling before they opened up the app. Don't tell somebody to drink this fit tea when it don't work. Sorry, don't work, y'all. Surprise, surprise. But there's people out here who go and consume that trash thinking that it will help them. And then guess what? They consume it, they do it, they go work out, they work their butts off, and they don't lose 1 pound. And guess what happens? The saga continues. The depression comes in. People get sad. So like I said, instead of, yes, please pick the people that are sitting out throwing out misinformation for sure. Or these other platforms that created things that happened on in January. Remember that ish? Where people were storming somewhere and threatening to take people's lives? Remember that day? Stuff like that was happening in forums on Facebook. Real talk. So there's a responsibility here that they have. And instead of them going, oh, well, this is bringing people in. Let's bring them in. Let's do this. Instead of them emboldening those people, those things should have been shut down in seconds flat, nanoseconds flat. But those things were raised up. They were raised up, y'all. Just being real.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you've said here. One thing I think is that a lot of people do not realize how pervasive a lot of these algorithms are. And I'm going to mostly talk about the Google ones here, which includes, Google News, search, YouTube to a degree, as well as a few others. It's not necessarily the same as Facebook, but it's pretty similar. But one way, really the only way you can communicate at this point online without having, say, Google start modifying your experiences based on what you're saying is generally through private text and email. If you're going over, say, YouTube, or you search it and you search it in Google, Google's algorithms are going to be aware of that, and they're going to start catering your environment via news, via your search engine, YouTube videos, and all of that to go for what you're looking for. And this is generally a very short term, only over a span of a few weeks, what you've been looking for. It will keep pushing that content endlessly until you lose engagement. And usually your communications during that point, they will pick up keywords. Say you're talking about a refrigerator over, say, YouTube or something, and then you see an ad for the refrigerator. That's not an accident. That's just these ad service. It's called Google Ad Service, working in conjunction with the Google search algorithms. And this is pretty common across Twitter and Facebook and all of those. They use it slightly differently, but the principles are the same. And so they create this environment to maximize engagement and profits, which we pointed to already. It tends to be things that make people anxious or uncertain about themselves, like their weight, for instance. And you kind of start getting these catered environments that are very different. So on Facebook, for instance, you will see that they tend to let any content that kind of goes with your searches to kind of come through. Whereas on the other hand, Twitter tends to go in the opposite direction, where they will, say, block a lot of content that they don't agree with, even if it's from the CDC or something. I've seen that before. And that caters people's environments in a certain way to push that story from a different platform, but under the same principles. And ultimately, this is not an easy thing to answer, because to one degree, it is the parents' responsibility to monitor what their children are engaging with and what content they're consuming. But online, that's not as easy as it is when you deal with, say, TV. You just put on a child lock and you're done. When you're dealing with something online, that child very likely knows how to use parts of the computer far better than you do. And so you're capable.
I'm not kidding. I've seen an infant turn things on by apps and stuff. An infant. Okay, not even 3 years old. I'm not kidding. They know how to use these things before we. I'm just saying. You're like, where's the photo button? How do I turn on the flash? These kids are like, man, they're landing spaceships from space. I'm not kidding with these apps, with these phones. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, it's just ridiculous how advanced kids are with this stuff. So sorry, continue. They know how to kill or remove these child locks. Like, when you put in those kind of apps where it stops your kid from being able to go and check out certain things, like, you know, Googling sex or anything of that sort. You see what I'm saying? They know how to turn those things off as well. Just giving you guys a heads up, fam. They figure it out because it's called Google.
Yeah, and I mean, Reddit and YouTube are largely age catered, so that's how a lot of these things, especially on Reddit, get around without older people knowing about it, because older people aren't suggested channels where 8 to 12-year-olds are mostly talking. So, you know, these secrets stay within the younger people usually without getting into the older groups.
Right.
And of course, age catering does make a lot of sense because you do want content that's more suitable for children, which ideally would help. I don't know. The algorithms need to be changed. I'm not a fan of censorship, but I do think the algorithms need to de-emphasize the things that you're searching for in the moment and kind of create a longer-termed profile for you, kind of what you do like in general. But that's not really how buying goes. People tend to splurge on the things that are most focused in their life at that moment. So they're, you know, once you get hooked on a topic, like, I mean, look at Gabbie Petito. People have been talking about that for like 3 or 4 weeks. Search that once, and then you search it again. Well, Google's going to keep giving that to you because obviously it's engaging you.
Yep.
And that's how it's going to operate.
That's how it goes down, right? And don't get me wrong, I understand that that's how it works. I mean, shoot, a lot of these manufacturers, brands, food, clothing, just anything, products, merchandise, they live off of that stuff too. So let me say something to you guys real quick. Did you know that there are apps out here that are listening in your phone? I'm sorry to say this, but when you sit there and talk about something, say you're talking about lampshades, and if there is a company that is involved with lampshades, right? They have an app so that as soon as you start talking about lampshades, you open up your phone, maybe a day or two later, boom, there it is. You see ads in your Facebook feed, or you see it in your Instagram. I'm not kidding. These things are very real. This is not like a surprise. This is not something that I'm not uncovering the suddenly the truth. I'm ripping the Band-Aid off. I'm lifting the lid. No, this is true. You could go and sit there and talk about ice cream. Man, I just want some ice cream so bad. Baskin Robbins pops up. Haagen-Dazs. You see what I'm saying? Talenti. You know that Talenti? That stuff's fire. But anyway, not a brand, not sponsored, but it is fire. Now I want ice cream. But you see what I'm saying? As soon as you start talking about it, bow, it shows up. As soon as you open up your Instagram page and you see something you like, some for example, corny, but I've been looking at fedoras a lot. I've been looking at a lot of hats lately because I want to upgrade my hat collection. Real talk. I click on one thing. Next thing you know, my Instagram feed is filled with all these hat brands. Seriously. I get it. That's how they got to do it. Because that's the new age of marketing nowadays, right? So imagine if you were sitting there and looking up like how to lose weight, or you look up some, like, say a young teen is a fan of some fitness model. This young girl wants to get fit like this girl. Next thing you know, she's going through her Instagram, and all she's seeing are ads on, how to lose weight, how to shed pounds, all this stuff that turns into something very unhealthy. Real talk. Extremely unhealthy. But like I said, not only does the manufacturer of that social media platform have a responsibility, the parents do as well. If you have teens that are doing whatever they can to look at stuff online, we have a responsibility to keep an eye on our kids. Because listen, they're looking at their phones more than they're looking at TVs, unless they're gaming. And sometimes they're gaming on their phones. So they're scrolling through out of boredom on TikTok and all these other social media platforms. That's where they're consuming everything. The cell phone is the new idiot box. It has always been the idiot box for the past couple years now. Shoot, past 5, 6, 7 years, it has been the new idiot box. It really is.
And You make a good point there.
We
And
have a responsibility. That's it.
I'm sure other people do this too, but like, kind of, once you get online, you kind of get used. I mean, this is a thing. There are studies about it I could pull out if you want it, but basically, people get used to the constant input of the sort of social media and high octane kind of information. And a lot of times it creates anxiety for people when they do not have that information continue at that rate. So people basically, and I'm sure others find themselves doing that, you might sit around on, say, YouTube or something, whatever social media you do use a lot, and YouTube's my used one, just sit there and refresh sometimes, waiting for some content to come up to actually engage you, because there's nothing there on that screen right now. And a lot of people do that. What's up?
No, I was just saying bingo. Like what you said is exactly what it is. Why do you think people keep scrolling? In hopes that they'll find something that they'll snap onto, they'll link onto, or they go deep. They'll go deep into a rabbit hole, a dark rabbit hole of like TikTok is really good at that. You just scroll. Oh, finally, 10 minutes later, you're into something, and it just takes you into a weird rabbit hole of like conspiracy theories and all that stuff, if that's what you're into. But TikTok will see that and feed that to you. You see what I'm saying? It's what those programs are built to do. Like I said, the phone is the new idiot box, has been the idiot box for a long time. Only thing is that these apps, these platforms have gotten smarter. They now know what works. They now know, because of all these celebrities that have been running around, having the perfect photo, posing in front of the Lambo with their bad chick right next to them, or the girls looking all curvy and successful and vacationing in Dubai, standing next to a camel, all that stuff. I mean, seriously, we consume those things. And that also, when you see somebody succeed, for those who are still at home, that can make people feel some type of way. Most definitely. It makes people sad when you're like, damn, that could have been me. So on and so forth. We all been there. We've all been there. If you are consuming it like that, all right? And like I said, I'll say it again. There's not only responsibility on the Facebook or the manufacturer of the social media platform, but it's also the consumer and and if it's a teen, it's the parents' responsibility to keep an eye on their children. Like, hey kid, put down the phone, go ride your bike, go climb a tree, go jump on a trampoline, do something outside, be active. You're beautiful. God made you. We made you, and you are a gift. We love you. These are all fake. These are fake boobs and fake butts that you're looking at, sweetheart. You're wasting your time. God made you beautiful exactly the way you are, period. Let's move on. Let's get you active. Or there should be parental locks and different procedures on these platforms, and so that these kids aren't seeing these things, aren't able to consume those things. Because Facebook ain't going to go anywhere. And none of these platforms are going anywhere. Because there's too many people that rely on them. Too many people make money off these things as well. Let's keep it real. There just needs to be new procedures that are actually going to work, that they implement into those programs. And stop sitting there going, oh, we need to fester and we need to suck the marrow out of this negative BS because it's salacious and it is driving traffic that could cause another January. I'm just saying that out loud. By the way, because we got to move on to our last story, but here it is, guys. If you guys are wondering what I mean by idiot box, it's a phrase that was made in Spike Lee's Bamboozled. If you get a chance, if you ever get a chance, and you want to see something really, really good, an amazing satire, go check out Spike Lee's Bamboozled. It's amazing. Like I said, the cell phone is the new idiot box without a shadow of a doubt. I just think it's getting worse. So anyway, we got to move on to the next story, our last story of the day. By the way, please, I see over 1,600 of you guys watching the show. Please hit that like button down below. I'd love it to see it go past 1,000 likes. If you're feeling what we're talking about, you see what I'm saying? Please hit that like button. Send it past 1K. That would really, really mean a whole lot. Okay, we got to go into our last story. This is our last story of the day. There is a story right now of a family that is, and maybe David, you can pull up the article. This family in Virginia, because I need to pull up this video. I can't do two things at the same time with this program, which sucks. But in this Twitter little thread, a family of veterans with small children move into a new house in Virginia Beach. Their neighbor installed motion sensors that trigger cameras and lights pointed at their driveway. This is the audio that plays whenever they go in or out of their home. I need to play this for y'all because this is ridiculous, y'all. Let's take a listen, shall we? What?
If a person uses the word it must be at least 7 words away from the word guy.
What? Dave, do you have a little bit of backstory to this? Oh my God, that just broke my heart, man. Yeah. Whoa! Did you hear any of that?
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that? I'm sorry, that was hella loud. I didn't know it was going to be that loud. Holy crap. But you got to be kidding me, y'all. So monkey noises. What was the other thing that dude said? I'm trying. What? What did he just say? Ooh, sorry, that's loud, y'all. Damn. From now on, if a person uses the N-word, it must be at least 7 words away from the word guy. From the word guy. This is on somebody's front lawn, y'all. Lawn. You have a backstory to this, right, David? Please speak on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Okay, so the woman, you see, the woman that lives at the location who originally made the report about this harassment, her name is Janique Martinez. She's a Black Navy veteran who lives in Virginia, and she says that she has been harassed by this guy for months now, and police say that they can't really do anything to help her, apparently.
Wait, I'm sorry. Repeat that one more time. The police can't do anything to help her?
Yeah, exactly. They say exactly. Police say they can do little to remedy this. So, yeah, that's what the police are saying.
Inside job. I don't care. Because you're telling me that you can't go and help this family out? You're telling me that this is okay? This isn't disturbing the peace, at least? Every time that they walk out of their home, this comes on? And the police in that area is saying that they can't do anything about it? Mm-hmm. This is hate speech.
As of about 36 hours ago, they're saying they can't do anything about it right now.
What the hell?
They haven't really elaborated on it, but so Military Times ended up talking to them, and the Virginia Beach Police Department responded to them, as well as a few other people who called for interviews, saying that they received several calls related to nuisance and loud music on the block, but it has no authority to intervene. And they said that via Twitter just this week. You can go check the Virginia Beach Police Department yourself.
That is BS, y'all. That is absolute BS. So you're telling me that this family, this innocent family with children, can't even, man, I'm sorry. I just saw this because this is trending really, really hard on Twitter. I'm looking at this video for the very first time with fresh eyes. I promise y'all this. This is not me making this, trying to be big just for the camera. I'm being real. That's the first time I've heard any of this. That was unexpected. I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Well, this part is fairly new.
You say, well, okay, so this part is new, but the fact that this family can't even, man, come on, y'all. Come on. Imagine you living in that house. Forget race. Throw that out the window. Forget that it's a black family. Forget that. Imagine if you were a family in that house and you were getting something like this. Maybe it was tailored a little bit towards you as a family. And you're having this. And the cops are telling you and to the news that they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
What? Come on, man.
And so they also got
time today. I got time today. This is ridiculous, y'all. Sorry, David. Continue. This is wow.
So the police go on to say that as appalling and offensive as the neighbors' behaviors are, the city attorney and Virginia magistrates have separately determined that the action reported thus far did not rise to the level that Virginia law defines as criminal behavior. And they said this on Thursday. Martinez says that she spoke to him, and his response was, well, let me call the police to make sure I'm in good standing with the law to play my music. And then Martinez says, I was floored because how about you just be a neighborly person, a parent, just anything to understand where I'm coming from. And he was adamant that he wasn't doing anything wrong. She goes on to say that I've done what I can to do it the right way. I've spent 11 years in the military. My husband is also a vet. We fought for this country, but yet there is no one to fight for us. And that does seem to be the case because no one in Virginia that's supposed to be, enforcing this law, they're not charging them there's no warrants, there's no police showing up. Magistrates aren't, like I said, the magistrates aren't putting out warrants, or the judges, whichever they use for the specific case. But they're just not doing anything about it, basically. They're kind of ignoring it, I guess, until it became more popular, which is when they put up the Twitter post saying that there was nothing wrong. However, Martinez does have a son as well. It's not just her and her husband. It's a 7-year-old child that she reports is terrified of the man. In addition to more typical bad neighbor behavior, like yelling at the kids, he has the cul-de-sac's residents under the eye of 8 security cameras. So he watches the location the whole time while he's booming the location with the racist recordings that you just heard. And I mean, that's generally the gist of it. So the police there aren't doing anything. A lot of the story only came out partially because she talked to Don Lemon, and then a lot of the issues with the police themselves came out later in an interview with the Military Times. So these are the two main sources we have for information: is the CNN and military news. It's not like the official government mandated news. It's just news that covers military issues. And she's a vet, so they tend to cover issues like that. But those are the only people that are really pushing the story right now. And like I said, both the police, the attorneys, and the judges in Virginia are saying that there is no criminal behavior here, even though the mother feels that her child is threatened, that they're under surveillance, and they are obviously being harassed daily, not to mention the problem of the noise complaints. As you see, these videos were done at night, so it's not just his family that's calling, it's multiple families, because in addition to being incredibly racist, it's also a noise issue for everyone in the area as well. Even those that are too far away to hear the specifics are being woken up by this, in addition to the racist aspect and the harassment that he's doing specifically on this one family that is his neighbor.
If I was this family, I'd be pulling out an axe, a chainsaw, a baseball bat, shoot, a golf club if I was a golfer, and I would beat the hell out of every single light and speaker that is pointed at my house. I would say lock me up. I wouldn't care. Destroying their property? Fine. Lock me up. Because that would never, ever be playing on my front lawn, terrorizing my children and my family. Hail to the no. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. that is a real thing? That wasn't just that wasn't like a Dave Chappelle skit?
Nope. It's been verified by the police. They just say it's not a crime. So the police are acknowledging it's happening.
But it's a crime. It's absolutely 110% a crime. How can you look at that and say, nope, not a crime? We wash our hands clean of this situation. Sorry, guys. We got to walk away from this situation. No, it's because it's an inside job. Or either that the neighbor is a cop or he's got family that are cops. Period. That's it. You know, you see footage like this. And of course, you know, obviously the technology and all that wouldn't be like what it was back in the day. But this feels like something that we see that's taking us 60 years back. Literally, it's like we took a time machine. We took that DeLorean and went back 60 plus years. You know, I'm glad we brought this up because as much as we are talking about, you know, the injustices and the weirdness of something like Gabbie Petito and the Brian Laundrie case and all that stuff, there are still other injustices that are going on in the world right now as we speak, and we're showing it to you right now. This family, what's the name of the family? What's the family's last name again?
Martinez.
The Martinez family are trying to seek justice for something that just recently happened. They went to their local authorities and they said those local authorities, local law enforcement said they couldn't do anything about it. So what are they doing? They went to media. And now, like this channel, we are talking about it. Why? Because that type of social injustice that we see right now, I'm sure they're not the only family that's dealing with this type of crap. Period. What's sad to me is that we are looking at this and we are in 2021, moving on to 2022, and we are still trying to figure out how to get justice for little, like this is a big thing, but this should have been simple. This should have been a simple phone call. Cops should have come over and it should have been a wrap. This could easily been done like that. Easily been done. If the cops actually did their damn job. And like I said, this is evil. Or I didn't say that, but this is evil. And this is most definitely an inside job. I wonder if they're the only family of color in that neighborhood as well. That's the other part I'd like to know as well. But David, you were going to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the makeups of that area, but I mean, this is a terrible case, but unfortunately, it's not the only one being ignored by the police right now. We don't really have time to talk about it, so I posted it in Discord, but there's just another issue of the police ignoring a landlord, torturing his tenants, calling them racist and sexist names, using the N-word against them, and like trying to kick them out and everything. The police said they couldn't do anything about that either. And he was like actively threatening and harassing people, going up to them, calling them names to their faces, and the police won't do anything about that. So the neighborhood is suing him for $8 million, but the police still aren't doing a single thing about it. But this isn't a unique case.
But see, that's the thing. Who is the sheriff? Who is the head of this department, this police department? Who is saying that they're washing their hands? Man, see, this is the thing. These are the kind of information. This is the information that we need to know, because that shows that police department is corrupt, absolutely corrupt. They're just sitting there. I'm just saying, we need to find the proper information out here so we can get those people. Not doxing anyone or anything like that, but these are the people that need to be brought in for questioning by other people. They need to be investigated. This police department needs to be investigated. No family should have to go to any media outlet to seek help to get people to stop harassing them in their own home. Anytime that they walk out onto their private property, that type of stuff is blasting. Imagine that. And of course, it's on the guy's lawn. But anytime that they walk out their front door, that type of stuff is blasting. And they're saying, can't do anything about it. Investigate. Investigate that police department, period. Get the higher ups, the powers that be, and investigate that ass, period. Period, y'all.
I'll point out all these cases are breaking in Virginia as well, multiples of them. So this isn't a unique thing to this area. It seems to be a problem throughout Virginia right now, at least based on the stories that are getting released over the past few days. It's a lot of issues, it seems, of the Virginia police departments, not just the Virginia Beach Police about the case we were talking about, but police in the surrounding regions where the other issues happened are just not engaging in these kind of racist attacks on tenants, whether they be from the landlord or from their neighbors. It is surprisingly, it's just coming out. The other one was in Newport, Virginia. I mean, there's a lot of these cases popping out of Virginia right now. I don't know why they're all happening at once, but it does not seem to be an isolated incident. And the Attorney General for the state is involved in all of these and is involved in the lack of investigations in most of them. So, there has to, I think he or she needs to be looked into because that's one of the main voices deciding not to investigate these cases that to me look like clear crimes that I've seen people get in trouble for in the past. Obviously, I don't live in Virginia, but I mean, I imagine you're still allowed to, be able to live happily and peacefully in your home and charge anyone who harasses you there, because you can do that anywhere else, it seems, except for in Virginia right now, if you're a black family, because that's what all these stories coming out are about, is the Virginia AG and various police offices within Virginia ignoring these cases for some reason until they become civil suits. And then maybe the police will acknowledge them to some degree, but they're ignoring them as it seems like across the board right now within Virginia.
Yeah, it's really sad to think that somebody, a family, right, a family of color, because this happens. This spans this spans past just a black family. This is you could say a family of color, because it happens to other people too, that are sitting there just trying to have their own version of the American dream, the pursuit of happiness, trying to live their dreams and make things happen. And every day that you walk out your front door, you are basically sonically ostracized because of the color of your skin, with the N-word being thrown out and all this stuff, terrorizing your own children, terrorizing your children. Like, you see, that's the thing. That's the part that really angers me more than anything. That these young kids, these young children in this family have to experience that type of vitriol firsthand. Now, I get it. At some point, we live in black in America. A lot of times we learn early. But sometimes we learn in a subtle way. Sometimes we're blessed enough to learn about racism in a subtle way, where it's just like a weird look or it's a small comment. But like I said, this takes it back to as if they just burned a cross in the front lawn. Like I said, they need to really look into the police department there. They need to do a deep dive into that tremendously. And they need to fire every single last police officer that is in that department that is involved in this particular case. All right, period. I got a super chat, and then we got to wrap up the show. Laura Estrada, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Pascal, it's time for us to walk the walk, not talk the talk as activists anymore. You know, you're right. This is the reason why we brought up the conversation, because it is a piece of information. It is a story that needs to be shown, that needs to be talked about. Because like I said, as much as we like to think that social injustices do not exist, or that as much as we like to turn a blind eye and say it isn't prominent, it's still here. And it's still extremely prominent. There are ignoramuses out here that are brought up with this kind of vile, disgusting vitriol in their minds, this poison that's in their minds, to the point where they feel so emboldened that they'll go and stick speakers out their home and flashing lights and loud noises just to terrorize a family because of the color of their skin. Like I said, again, they need to do a deep dive into this police department, and they need to bring some justice for this family. Unbelievable. One last super chat, Little Bit. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Says Little Bit said, showing support. I love your show, and you being easy on the eyes doesn't hurt. Blue heart. Oh, thank you so much. She meant that for you, David. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure it's for you.
No, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. But anyway, that is the show today. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who came on, was a part of the conversation. David, I thought you were going to leave a little bit earlier, but I'm happy that you stayed. We had a lot to talk about. It's nice to kind of get back into the groove of things. You know, let's groove tonight. Felt good to talk about other things today other than the Petito story and the Laundrie story, which is still very, very important. And we will be covering those things as things develop. If there's something big going on, we're going to talk about it, but we're also going to talk about other things. So if you are interested in being a part of these conversations, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, baby. Please destroy that subscribe button. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. We're working hard out here in these streets. Also, hit that like button down below. I'd love to see it at 1,100 likes. Okay. 100K would be amazing in the like section. So before you take off, hit that like button before you leave, y'all. Okay. And for those of y'all who are just starting the show and check out this show, we do this show Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. So, but I also do an evening show sporadically as of recently. So I will be on tonight. Okay. At 7 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight. So we will be talking about a gang of different things. If there's any information or any more developing news revolving around the Brian Laundrie story, we will be talking about that. And there's other pieces of information that I really want to talk to you guys about tonight as well. Okay? Other stories, other discussions, so we can all talk about all of that ish. Okay? So, love you guys. I appreciate you. David, thank you so much for being on. It's nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's good to get back in the flow.
Yes, it is very good to be back with the flow. So anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And have a blessed rest of your day. I'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center, a professional nuisance wildlife management company specializing in providing animal removal for residential, industrial, and commercial clients. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. Exactly which animal are we dealing with? How is the animal getting inside the home? What kind of damage is the animal doing to the structure? Once we get the answers to all of these questions, we develop and write up an action plan to resolve the animal issue completely and provide a quote to implement that action plan. We perform a very in-depth 70-point wildlife inspection. From visually inspecting the highest point, the chimney, to physically crawling inside the attic space and looking for animals, chewed wires, fecal matter, chewed structural wood. We inspect everything. Our inspection process covers all of the following 70 points: animal-proof chimney cap, roof ridge vents, roof to soffit junctions, dormer fascia, attic gable vents, gutter lines, fascia trim, garage door, utility penetrations, water, gas, electric, and cable, bathroom vents, attic roof ridge vents, attic electrical, wiring, junctions, boxes, and lighting, concrete decks, additions, wooden crawl spaces, basement plumbing, penetrations, ceiling, floor, and wall. Wildlife Command Center's mission is to deliver the finest quality wildlife removal and pest control service that is safe for the environment. For more information, call us now.